This is the Keezos Corner Show, and you're back with your boy, Mr. Keezo, and I got my guest host.
You know, Chrys and I, don't ask me why.
There you go.
You know, I decided to infiltrate your show this time.
Yeah. I'm always on your show, so you can come on mine. And we got another special guest in the building today, my boy, Mr. Terrence Floyd. Welcome to Keezos Corner, man. Appreciate you pulling up on us today.
Appreciate you having me. Peace.
Yeah, you can move the mic if you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get comfortable.
Okay.
Find your sweet spot.
I hear you.
Yeah, man. So, I think the last time we saw each other was in Queens College.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw you walking by. I was like, "Yo, T, what's up?" You turn around, and it's funny because when I first met you, it was at the protest downtown.
Right.
And it was just for a brief moment, kind of like, "Hey, this is Keith." Kevin introduced us real quick. And then when I saw you again, I felt compelled to like just reach out, like, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't even on no high horse or nothing. I was like, "Yo, T, what's good, man?" So I appreciate you pulling up on us today. What's been going on, man? I know you've been doing a lot of things, man. You had a lot of things going on. You got your hands in various different projects and organizations. Tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
Well, the last 4 years been crazy, man.
Yeah.
But I've been keeping it busy. I've been dealing with different organizations like 100 Suits, Fathers Alive in the Hood, a lot of mental health organizations, Steps with Sisters. I've been dealing with other organizations that deal with domestic violence. I'm basically, when I say I'm for the culture, I'm trying to learn what's really plaguing our culture and get involved in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what I've been doing, man. And the gun violence, domestic violence, mental health that's what it is.
Yeah, a lot of times people say they for the culture, you know what I'm saying, and don't really be for the culture. So,
right.
I know that was a big thing with us is, we didn't want to talk about it, we wanted to be about it, you know what I mean? So, I get that a lot with politicians. Like, they get up and they talk all this, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And, time comes, they don't do half the things that, that they say they're going to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's good that you're out here, hands on the feet and hands, you know what I'm saying? Right. In the community, you know what I mean? So,
and one thing you're going to learn, one thing to learn about me is I have a different aspect of activism. You know what I'm saying? When you go and you march and you do all of that is good, but I'm more for the people, street, the local people. You know what I'm saying? I could go to Congress and talk to them, but what's the sense in going to Congress when I'm not talking to my people's where I'm at, my community? You know what I mean? So that's why I choose to be in the community first before I even want to step up there.
No, that's a big one because, like you said, like a lot of politicians, they're seen, they're saying all these things, they sound good, but, can you recognize your average politician in the street if they pass by? It's a good thing. You want to know people by name and they want to know you because then they feel like they can trust you to tell you what's really plaguing them, because, we all know the things on the surface issues, but to really get past that and to help, you need to get to the root of the problem. If they don't know who you are, how are you going to get there?
Right.
So I commend that absolutely because a lot of people are scared to get dirty. They don't know they don't know what they're walking into. It's work.
They're scared of the unknown.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that plagues us a lot because a lot of people, it hinders a lot of people too in their progress. If they don't know what's gonna happen, they rather not go down that road. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you should never be scared of failure. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Even if you're gonna fail, go down that road and see what it's about. So it's good, like she said, that you hands-on in the community.
Right.
You got to say it, man. I don't want to mess it up, but it's I'm gonna talk for my brother. And
I said I talk where he can't talk no more. I walk where he can't walk no more, and I'm gonna love where he can't love no more.
Right. No, I love that, man. That's deep. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
And for those of you that don't know, we're talking to George Floyd brother, Terrence Floyd, who has stepped in basically in his shoes and carried his name on and his legacy on. You know what I mean? So kudos to you for that, man.
Appreciate you.
Because I know you was basically propelled
Right.
in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like the
Right.
day before you was good, you know, and then the day after you have all this to deal with. I mean, mentally, like, how was that on you? Because I know you said you speak at mental facilities and things like that. How was it on you? Like, did you go through? I'm pretty sure you did, but explain to the people what you went through when that happened.
When it first went down, I honestly stayed in the house for like a week. I didn't want to see nobody, talk to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because I often tell this story, and me and my brother, we share the same father, George Floyd Sr. You know, which passed away in 2002. Sorry, and I was raised in Brooklyn, New York, and he was in Houston. So, you know, being that family dynamic, we really wasn't raised together.
Right.
But through a cousin of mine that had an event, she invited him to New York, and I got to meet him for the first time ever. We was well in our 30s, you know, 2016. And since 2016, we was able to bond and talk and get to know each other, and just was constantly on the phone, constantly FaceTiming, whatever we had to do just to catch up with each other.
Right.
You know, and so when this happened, about 4 years later, I'm like, I needed more time, you know what I'm saying? Because we need more time with this. So mentally, you know, I was mad. I was mad at God, you know, regular stuff, you know, mad at God, mad at the police and everything like that. But then being in my room for like that week, I had to realize my brother wasn't that type of person to shut down, you know. And I went to, and then I got a call from a friend of mine that knew an activist named Kevin McCall, and he wanted to know would I come to Minnesota with him. And I was like, I don't know this guy. I'm gonna stay home, whatever. So my friend, she was like, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta speak. You gotta say something. And I'm like, no. So then my mother called me, and she said, I raised you to speak your mind. You gotta talk. You gotta talk. And I said, all right. So, you know, when mama talk, it's like, oh, okay.
Gotta put on that armor.
Exactly. So it's like, all right. So I called him, and I said, I'm with it. Let's go. So he was like, all right. So we went down there, and as we went through the town of Minnesota, and we was going through the streets and stuff, and we seen all the ruckus going on, and we saw the murals that they had put up. They had a whole lot of murals they painted of my brother, different sayings and stuff. So I seen this one particular mural, and we stopped. And I got out, and I just looked at this mural, and the way the artist kind of drew his eyes, it was like I was in a trance, like I'm just standing there looking at him. And I could feel him saying, speak for me. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I'm standing there, and that's where that saying came from. You know what I mean? I just felt him saying, speak for me. So when I spoke in front of Cup Foods on CNN, all of that just came from the heart. I literally felt like he was talking through you. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, because when I first got up there, legs were shaking. I didn't know what to say. You know what I'm saying?
It's natural.
For real. I'm just like, I don't know what to say. And I'm seeing all these cameras, and then it just came out. Even the people that was with me was like, where did that come from? I was like, I don't know. You know, but I got a few people that said after that, they was in New York, they was thrashing stuff, and they heard me talking, and they was like, I know that's my man, I know him. Oh, nah, let's stop. So I kind of affected some people that I knew in a positive way by speaking. So that's what propelled me to, when I came back, to start my organization, We Are Floyd, and let's hit the streets and help the community.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's I couldn't even imagine, you know, especially being a victim, family tragedy and something like that sparked literally overnight. You know, we have all these stories where obviously all these crimes happen with police brutality and amongst the other hurdles that we have to go through as a community.
Right.
So for your life to change overnight and to speak for your brother, we have to realize that we can't be scared to be advocates for the people that we love, for what's right. Because a lot of people are scared to say these things because of persecution and the internet. You know, everybody has something to say. So I absolutely commend you, and I want to talk more about your organization and exactly how you help the community. Like, how are you touching these people, and what could they do to get in touch with you and help you?
Well, I basically start by the schools. I go into the schools because when this went down, I seen a whole lot of young people really hitting the streets and really understanding that, listen, if we don't get it together, you know what I'm saying, we gonna be lost. You know, so that's why I want to keep that going, keep that fire going. So I go into the colleges, and I go into the high schools and the elementary schools. Really get me the most, because you don't really expect the younger children to know certain logic and politics going on, but they're very aware. And the questions that they ask me, I would look for an adult to ask me those questions.
You'd be like, that's a good question, young man.
I'm actually looking for someone, because you can see and feel the hurt, because not only was your family affected, like everybody was hurt, you know. So we're asking these questions, is like, how do I quell this anger inside of me? You know, and that's what we have to remember as a community. Like, yeah, we're angry together, but how can we turn that into something powerful, something positive? Right.
And I often see, when I go into those schools, I get the reaction of, oh, you're like, when you speak to us, you make me feel like you're my uncle or my big brother, you know. And I'm like,
language.
I said, okay, and that's when that's what keeps me going, you know. And they look at me when they hear my name, they thinking I'm coming in there with a suit. I mean, it's a time and a place for all of it, but I like to dress comfortable so you can relate to me. You know,
I'm the same way.
Exactly.
Because every time I've heard you speak, even when we were downtown, it was powerful. Like, you know, you didn't come up there with a whole bunch of words, and, you know, you spoke from your heart and your mind, and you were directly to the point. It wasn't no, you know, like that day, and I don't know if you remember, there was a few other people up there, and they were trying to promote their, you know, they were running for Congress or a seat or whatever, and it was kind of like, it's a time and a place for everything. And this was not the place for
not at
what
all.
you're talking about right now. But, you know, what I like to add to it is, for me, it was, you know, when it happened, I saw, like you said, there was a lot of young people, but I saw everybody. It was people that came out like that from all over the world. You know what I'm saying? I've never, ever seen that before, you know, and I've been through some things. But when I saw that, and you know, it was just okay, we fed up. Like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was almost the straw that broke the camel's back. It really was the straw that broke the camel's back. But what I loved about the movement was that there was a lot of people involved, of all different nationalities. You know, so if you're telling me people over in France and people over here in Germany and other places are protesting, then, you know, this thing has really hit, you know, touched a nerve. You know what I'm saying? This incident has really touched, this tragedy rather has really touched a nerve.
I was actually shocked. What really shocked me, and a lot of people laugh, but I'm serious, is when I actually saw a clip in the news, and I'm like, the Amish was protesting, had signs, and I'm like, wait a minute, they their own community. I didn't even know about this.
This how powerful it is.
For real, I'm just like, wow, because you don't really hear about the Amish doing anything but what they do. You know what I'm saying? So,
because this is not just an isolated situation. The reality of it is, this happened to another human being. It could happen to anybody, and this is what this showed the world. It's not, you know, it does specifically happen to us more than others statistically. But the reality of it is, it could be someone's son, their father, their brother, someone begging for their life. Like that's brutal. You know, so I'm proud of everybody who advocated for you, your family, for your brother, and what do you have to say for people who continue to advocate for him?
Well, I'm actually working, well, not working, consoling a family right now. They live in Brooklyn, and no media, no nothing like that. But what happened was their brother got murdered by police in Atlanta, by the name of Robert Powell. And his sister contacted my cousin on Instagram, and my cousin contacted me and said, listen, they're in Brooklyn or whatever like that, but this happened in Atlanta. So I'm like, well, okay. So I contacted them, and I've been in touch with them ever since. I went to the funeral, everything. Met the mother, the father, and I'm continuing to fight for them too, because like I told them, it's my brother too.
Right.
Yeah. And we saw the tragedies of Orlando Castillo, and Breonna Taylor, and Tamir Rice, and it's just so many to name. You know what I'm saying? Eric Gardner. You know what I mean?
Fortunately, it's still a growing list.
It's still a growing list. Have you seen many changes since this happened? I mean, I know there's been some changes in defund the police and things that has been talked about over the years. For me, I see it lightening up a bit, but what you don't, publicize, before everything was public, now they try to keep everything hidden. You know what I mean? So if you don't see it, you don't know. But do you have you seen a lot of changes since?
I've seen changes. I sometimes say I've seen changes because of who I am, so I'm gonna see the change because they're not gonna come at me like they would the next black man, But I have seen some changes. I say it was more slow motion than no motion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As far as the police, I've seen them, like you said, ease up. Not really go so hard, but really try to understand the community that they work in. I've seen that a lot. Even with whether they got peace officers or community affairs officers, I've seen them easing up. Them really trying to learn their community and learn the people and not go so hard and be so aggressive, because they understanding that we not like that. We may be upset, we maybe have a little attitude or whatever like that, but understand it's an attitude. It don't mean I want to fight.
Right.
I don't mean I want to rob you, I want to kill you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So they're beginning to understand it. Because they're actually, I see them actually deploying more peaceful officers in our neighborhoods too.
Yeah, try to diffuse.
They don't want to see that again. You know what I'm saying? Like that was, like I said, that was huge for black people as a whole. It hit so hard that it wasn't just black people, it wasn't just young people, it wasn't white people, it was everybody. Because I remember sitting at home and watching the news one day, and they were flashing all the different countries. And I don't know what day it was, but it was a day that everything was going on, and they was flashing all these different countries, and I was like, what? Like I couldn't even believe it. I was like, wow, I've never seen this before. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, is what we have to go through as young black men, and just in general. I know growing up, my mother used to always be like, yo, you're going to be dead or in jail by the time you're 21. And I couldn't understand, like, yo, you my mom, so why are you telling me this right now?
Right.
Like, and you're telling me this all the time. It's not like you just said it once or twice. You're saying this all the time. And my mom, she keeps it 100.
Right, of course.
She's so 100, it's not even funny.
Right.
She said, because I see you, the way you're moving, the things you're doing, the people you're hanging out with, I see you going down that road. I hope it don't happen, but I can see it, and I'm gonna prepare myself because, you're definitely not on the right track. Everything that you said you want, you're doing the totally opposite of. You know what I mean? And even me, coming up in the '80s during the crack era, the cops was crazy back then too. You know what I mean? Especially in Queens. Especially when Edward Byrne was killed in Queens, and it was just, the cops was just on like a rampage.
Right.
Like, they used to just beat you up and then take you somewhere and beat you up and let you go.
And that comes with fear for them not understanding the community too.
Yeah,
they come in there scared, so you're already on the defense. And that's just dealing with what they think they're dealing with. Especially you said something about mental health, advocating for mental health. They don't know how to deal with mental health issues, and have you seen any changes with how they deal with that? Because like you're saying, like they come in there hard. Like,
yeah, I've seen I don't know if you're asking me or him, but I know I've seen people or police officers now using like mental health experts to like assess certain situations. You know what I'm saying? You're starting to see it. Like I said, anything that's never always publicized is, you got to dig for. You know what I mean? But if they want you to take a shot, they're gonna put it on every channel. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But yeah, it's I'm glad that it affected so many people like that, because you do, kind of get empathy from other ethnicities. You know what I'm saying? They like, okay, come on, enough is enough. Like, this is, and a lot of people criticize the young lady for filming it, and to me that was the best thing she could ever done, because, letting people see it happen in real life, in real time. I think that's what touched so many people so much, because it wasn't like you heard about something and then you saw an edited clip about something. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like that.
Saw it in real time.
So it was real time, and it just, everybody just snapped from there. Like it was like, okay, enough is enough.
And I had a chance to speak to Darnella Frazier, and the guy that, I forget his name, but the guy that was speaking, talking about, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because they were in the courtroom, and then, no, he was in the courtroom. I spoke to her mother over the phone, and both of them said, I wish it was something more I could have done. And I told them each, I said, you did what you were supposed to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? You did what you were supposed to do. And they felt so bad that they didn't do extra. I said, you did what you were supposed to do. I said, because of that video, look at the outcome. And I told the dude, because you were talking, look how much time you killed. Like, people was understanding what he actually was doing. You was pinpointing every move he was doing. You know what I'm saying? So that was also in the court, talked about in the court. I said, you did enough. You did what you were supposed to do. And then they was like, yo, thank you, man. I appreciate you for saying that, because I feel really bad, like I could have did more. I said, if you would have did more, it'd have been you and my brother. You know what I'm saying? So.
Did, what's his name? Shaven, whatever?
Yeah, Shaven.
He how much time did he get?
22 and a half, and then when he come out, he got 5 years probation.
Okay.
So it's like 25 to life, but it's not.
Yeah.
Just short of it.
Right.
But you know how it goes. They throw the book at anybody else for the smaller offenses.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was.
It goes
out
down.
My head,
I had to say it. Somebody had to say it.
Because you look. I saw something on social media, maybe about a couple of weeks ago, and they had two people for this. Basically, I won't say for the same crime, but it was similar crimes. One guy got like 5 years probation, and the white guy got 5 years probation or something like that, and the black kid got like life in jail. Right? And one was like 25, and I think the black kid was like 18, something like that. So you sentencing these 18 kids to life.
But those are lighter instances, because we've been persecuted since the beginning of time. The reality of it is, I was watching a clip of a young woman. She was explaining the lynchings of 8 individuals and what they got lynched for. 14-year-old for offending a white woman. Right. A woman for telling white kids not to throw rocks at her. So they think that giving us years is much better than sentencing us to death. Right. So unfortunately, it's an ingrained and systematic racism, which, people are misconstruing what that actually means. If you go down the history and the line of what is expected, and even ask children what they perceive, before the conditioning and after the conditioning.
Right.
You only perpetuate what you see in your household. And that's something that we have to realize, too, as a community. And it's not just, one or the other, it's everybody, because we all have preconceived notions. And we forget that when we have little ones in the house, we're raising the next set of society, contributing members to society. So.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's like, and reason, even we were talking earlier before we started taping, and I was talking about how, like, I don't care to go viral. It's not mandatory that I go viral. I just want to put on a good show, produce a good show, have a good show, and have it be about positivity, uplifting, just things that people don't really strive for anymore. Everybody wants to, how many views I got? This, and it's really not about that. With us, Chrys has her own show. She does phenomenal work, and we talk about, just the good things. We
go in.
And, we touch on some things, but it's not for a viral moment. You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
But also, too, is I get upset that we all can't just, and I don't want no kumbaya type thing, but if we just can't get together or work for something better together, you know what I'm saying? You have all these ethnicities that have their own, basically they financing, you know what I'm saying? They open these communities, they go to their communities, they put their money back in their communities, and we're just taking the money that we have out of our communities and just giving it away. If that mindset can change, it would be so much better that, we can spend with each other, we can help each other grow. And I hopefully we get there one day, man. Hopefully I'm living to see
maybe when
that,
the alien invasion happens, then we'll know that we're humans, and then we're like, well, they're different. Because, the reality of it is we're all human. We have to recognize that in each other. We feel, and like you said, to sit here and have these conversations, putting on a good show, it's about having these conversations that people think or they're too scared to talk about, or to have something to spark something in someone else. You don't know who we can spark the next revolutionary by having this conversation, and you hear something that speaks to them, or the next scientist or whatever have you. So it's important to have authenticity and talk about the positive along with the bad, in a way that we can grow from it and not just have that shock value, that viral moment.
And that's definitely what I hold tight to, being authentic and transparent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because these speaking to these young people, they see right through you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because I'm big on that too. Talking to kids, when you talk to an adult or you go talk to a college or whatever, these kids, not saying they ain't gonna listen, but they pretty much, or they got their head or they where they're focusing on.
Right.
But with the young kids, for me, is when I go back and I talk to the young kids, it's like I didn't have that. I didn't have a figure to come talk to me and tell me, yo, this is what it's like. You got to work hard. You got to do this. You got to do that. It wasn't, I didn't have that. So I had, the recruiters coming to the school. I had the police officers and the firemen and just telling you about different things about their work. But it wasn't stuff that I could relate to. So when I go back and I talk to these kids, and you're right, they see right through you. I kind of do the same thing. I don't put on a suit. I don't, I don't try to talk like I don't talk. You know what I mean? Like, I'm straight in there. I'm like, as my mom Duke would say, straight up from the flow up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like once you start speaking that language and they realize like, oh, okay, he talking that, you know what I'm saying? He talking that ish right now, you know what I mean?
That speaks volumes about you guys, definitely. And that, because for kids to like understand you, to like you, to be able to see right through you, if kids do not like you, you have to watch out for the person that kids don't like, because they see it for what it is. And I always have noticed that about kids. If they ain't messing with that person, I'm like, you know what, maybe they see something that I should not see. They see your aura. They see the truth in you. They want to know that they can be guided, not just told.
Not just told to, yep.
You know, that's commendable for two black men sitting here to keep talking to the community, keep talking to the kids, because, you know, it's very much needed. And the same thing for the young ladies, like, you know, speaking to them, having these conversations about what to look out for, because we lost our OGs, we lost our aunties and our grannies and, you know, Miss Mavel next door. So we have to find a new way to be that community that doesn't really exist anymore in real time.
Yeah, exactly. I always talk about it takes a village, but where the village is at?
I told you, the new village is the internet. We gotta use it.
Yeah, people are moving out. You know, like when I lived on my block, and I'm sure you had your community where you lived out in Brooklyn. I've been on that block for like 17 years. You know what I'm saying? So I know everybody on the block. Everybody know me. You know, when I moved, I was like 17, but you know, I knew everybody. Everybody knew me. Now, you know, due to, you know, rent increases is too damn high. People got to move. So it's not like the people that, you know, you don't see people there for 10, 20 years anymore. You know what I'm saying? Right. If they there for a couple of years or a couple of the lease years. What, you got a 2-year lease? I'm going to get this apartment for 2 years, then we out. So you don't really get to see that person over time and grow up with that person over time. And then also, too, you know, I remember when people started to like interject in kids' lives, and then the kids was wilding out on the older, you know, the younger you get, the younger you are having kids, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't have that same, you know, feeling as back in the days. You know what I'm saying? Like, you used to respect your elders, you know, certain things you had to do. Right. But when you grew up with a younger parent, you know what I'm saying, that probably wasn't raised right, you know, because I ain't going to say it all young.
I mean, it's not even just about raised right. It's rebelling, too. It's like, they was too strict. I'm not going to treat my kid like that.
Right.
Yeah, true. You know, too soft on them. You know what I'm saying? Letting them do whatever the hell they want. But, you know.
That's because of lack of community.
Yeah, these kids, these elders started to say, man, listen, I ain't got time to be trying to raise that kid. That boy wild now. He probably shoot me. Right. Or he probably do this, or he'll probably do this, or he threatened me already. Like, I'm not even going to get involved. And then that's when you had the OGs. Back in the days when you had the OGs, like, and I ain't gonna lie, some of them was drug dealers, some of them was, you know, hustlers.
OGs.
You know, they was little odd jumpers. You know what I'm saying? But those are the guys that would tell you the real from the gate.
Don't
you know
be like me.
So, right. You know, like, I remember me trying to not go to school and come back around and hang out and play hooky. And, what you doing around here? Right. But go to school. Like, and I'd be like, nah. So I couldn't even come around the area. I had to go somewhere else. Exactly. You know, it was crazy. But you had that, and you know,
but
like
you know
she
what?
said, the village now is the internet. You know what I'm saying?
But also, too, you touched on that. Like, people don't want to tell people's kids, but we have to remember that we also have to want the village. Because how many times have you seen parents say, don't talk to my kid like that. Don't raise my kid. True. My kid is dead wrong, but you don't tell my kid that they did wrong. And
it wasn't like that before.
It wasn't like that, because
they used to beat your ass and bring you home.
They'd be like, good.
You know what I'm saying? And the first thing your mother do is slap your head. Get in the house. What you done did? Like, nah, that don't happen no more.
That's also what I use my platform for, because they're not going to say, why are you talking to my kid like that to me? You know, they're going to be like, wow, like, you really care. Like, you really care for my child. You know what I'm saying? Because of who I am. I'm not just a regular dude that's walking down the street. Yeah. You know what I mean? I see dudes, you know, it was a situation in my neighborhood where, you know, kid was scared. He ran in the store. I was in the store. He ran in the store. He was like, excuse me, sir, can I use your phone? I'm like, for what? What happened? He was like, these kids trying to jump me. And I'm like, I look outside, I see a whole mob of kids coming. And I'm like, oh, man, I said, stay in the store. You know what I mean? And then one of my other guys came and was like, what's going on? I said, yo, the kids, they trying to jump them. I'm just keeping them in the store. So he went out there. He stopped them. Yo, what y'all doing? Oh, nah. It was just stupid. So we was out there talking with them, talking with everybody. Told the kid, come outside. Me and my boy standing there talking to him. And what happened? His mother happened to roll up. And she was like, what's going on? I said, no, your son came in the store. He was scared. He wanted to use my phone. And I kept him in the store. speaking to them, and now we're talking to all of them. She was like, oh, okay, I didn't know what happened. I didn't know what happened. She said, I appreciate you. Thank you. You know what I mean? Because then she started going over his father, and I said, I don't need to know all of that.
Right.
I don't need to know all of that.
And the fact that you even took the time out your day to sit there, talk to all them kids, come
Right.
to a resolution, because that's how things escalate.
Exactly.
Boys will be boys,
Yeah.
but there's a point where it just tilts and it goes the wrong way, and everybody's life is affected because they don't really know what they're doing.
Right.
You know?
They don't.
So, and people forget that they're kids.
Yeah.
They're kids.
and we
Everybody
was
want to
good.
grow up and forget what it was like to be a kid. I remember making dumb decisions as a kid.
Right.
Like,
I
I'm
used to
still
love
alive.
I used to love being a kid before these bills came.
Exactly, man. I go back.
You hear that, kids?
I ain't have to cook.
Don't grow
I
up.
I had free meals.
What?
I was surviving some joints. You'd be like, oh, Lord, thank you so much. I made it.
For real.
It's different. So with your We Are Floyd Foundation, what was it organization?
Organization.
How can people reach out to you and get involved with what you're doing?
And support.
Well, the website is www.wearefloyd.net, and you could go on there. You could view upcoming events that not even events. I hate to say that word. Upcoming topics.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying, that I'm dealing with, or either past topics that I've been dealing with, schools I've been talking, different clips of me speaking and stuff like that, and just what we're continuing to do, who we partner with, who we collab with. You could definitely go on that site and view all of that.
That's good to know.
I have one more question. What do you want people to remember most about your brother, George?
Oh. Simple and plain, that he was human. Yeah, he was a black man. Yeah, he had issues. He had a past, but he was human. And what you didn't know was he went to, while he was in Minnesota, at I'll say a rehab center, because he had issues, of course. But he knew he was learning from his mistakes, and went out there to Minnesota to a place called Turning Point. And I love the name of that place because it's like, the name just stuck out to me.
Right.
And I actually went, when I was in Minnesota for that month for the trial, I went to visit that place, and it was something to see, because you saw the people that knew him, that was in the groups with him, talking and speaking and stuff like that. So I want people to understand that he was human. He didn't deserve what happened to him. He deserved to keep living. And as long as you see me speaking, you're gonna see him, and you're gonna know who he is. So I am his legacy.
Oh, that's what's up. What other things you got, in the pipeline that you want people to know about?
Well, I just finished up we had the National Action Network convention last week. I had 2 panels. We had the family panel, the families of the victim panels, and we had a State of Black Men panel, where Off School Grounds was there, a couple other people, Yusef Salam was there. We just, a bunch of black men just talking about the state of black men. We're looking to do more of that, and not take it on the road, but take it to schools and stuff like that. And one thing I'm aiming to do is, since I talked about my mother had a session when I was younger, and it was called Honesty Hour, because I could speak to her about anything happening, what I did, what I didn't do, what I thought about doing, and within that hour. And I didn't have to worry about getting in trouble, and I didn't have to worry about punishment or whatever have you. And I'm trying to implement that into the schools.
Nah, that's dope.
You know what I mean? Because when I thought about it, I said, oh, that's a guidance counselor. That's what a guidance counselor is supposed to do. But you don't see guidance counselors like that in schools no more.
Dissipated. Yeah.
And one of my guys, they told me, yeah, they're there. They got in papers. They're not got in students.
Yeah, but I don't know. When I was in school, I was afraid of the guy. I was afraid of the guy's counselor. I used to get in trouble every time I turned around. This guy's counselor was right there. But it was different in high school.
Right.
Like when I got to high school, my mom sent me to Bayside High School, like all the way, basically in the white neighborhood, and Andrew Jackson was in the black neighborhood that she wouldn't let me go to. And I didn't like it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, man, all my friends in Jackson and I realized that, I can just walk out the door. Ain't no guidance counselor here. Nobody don't care if I don't come to this class, the next class. It's all on me, you know. And that first year in high school, I basically failed everything. You know what I'm saying? I put myself together the last semester, but other than that, I basically failed everything. But it was different in high school, in junior high school. And I don't know what it is today. I've been to a couple of schools. I actually been to my boys' school, Dr. Malik Small.
Okay, yeah.
Man, I love the way he runs that school.
Yeah.
Those kids and just the programs he has there, and implementations of the black culture, the African culture.
Right.
Just not forgetting about any of that at a time when most of these schools are trying to eliminate that out the curriculum.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, but I love to see more schools, and there probably are more schools like that, but,
you need to see more of it to know that they're safe.
Yeah, just to see more of it,
Right.
I think it's funny when kids feel like they're safe and they can say anything. Have you seen these moments that have been going like viral? Well, they put the kid in the bathroom and it's like, all right, you can say whatever you want for 5 minutes as long as the door is closed, and they just be going in, and it just comes out so natural. Like they've been saying it in their brain, but it's funny. But I think it's perfect because if you tell a kid that they can't, or if you allow them to do it because you want them to have expression, it gets all muddied up because they don't know where the boundaries are.
Right.
I think being able to give them a safe space, like saying honesty hour and implementing that more in schools, because you're right, the guidance counselor weren't doing much guiding.
Exactly.
So the end of the day, we need to give them a place where they can feel safe. You let that out so they're not making bad decisions or blowing up on somebody or feeling like they're alone. And unfortunately, you're seeing a lot more kids taking their lives because they can't overcome something that they feel like they can't be understood or can't even express it.
And it's cool that moms did that, because my mom's was like that too, where she allowed us to be ourselves and express ourselves and talk to her about anything. I think, especially now when I hear grown people saying, "Oh man, I wish my mother was like your mother," and I'm like, oh. And I ask questions like, how is your mother? Well, all the stuff that you talk about, I could never say that to my mom.
Right.
Really? I was like, that's so natural for me when my mom's like, for real?
Right.
So I get to understand their plight, and they're around my mother. Like my mother said, she said, I got about 55 kids. Because everybody want her to be their mother.
Right.
Because she pours into everybody she talks to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And listens to everybody who comes to her with a situation. So she's like that person you can express yourself to, and these be like grown folks, like that talk to my mother, don't talk to their own mother. And I'm like, but you grown, you can't talk to your. Nah, I can't. And I just find that so weird because I didn't grow up like that.
Right.
And I'm glad I didn't, because like you said, kids need an outlet, and when they don't have an outlet, they can do things to themselves that.
And it changes the human being that you'll become.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. My dad, he wasn't with the long stories. Let it out. So now every now and again, if I can't tell the story fast enough, I'm like, you know what? Forget it. And I recognize that that's my trauma, and it's, look what I chose to do. I want to talk on a mic. Right? I'm getting through it, but we have to remember, but it's not just about understanding them, but also helping shape who they'll become. If you take away their voice at a young age, you're taking away a lot of possibilities, things that could be entered into. So, yes, I commend that. I'm looking forward to this honesty hour.
And I got the idea from my mother, but I also implemented it in my own home. With my children, because I feel like if you can't be authentic and real in your own home and you try to go out here and speak to these kids, they're going to be like, look at your kids.
And your kids going to snitch on you on the internet. They be like, that's not what happens over here.
Exactly.
Nowadays.
They're going to tweet.
They be in your comments like, Daddy, stop fronting.
Exactly.
We don't be like that at home.
Like emojis like this.
Shady.
Oh man. This is a great conversation, man. I'm glad you pulled up on this today, man. Tell people where they can find you.
You got on Instagram is official Terrence Floyd, TerrenceFloyd NYC on Instagram, and just Terrence Floyd on Facebook. We are Floyd on LinkedIn, and I don't even use my Twitter. I'm sorry, y'all. but
I don't use my Twitter. X, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah.
And you know what it is with
Get you in trouble.
Exactly.
No, it's I don't have time to be in everybody's business and be commenting on everybody. And I just feel like that's what Twitter is sometimes, where, you know, even if you're posting something, you have to post, and somebody says something, your natural response, you're gonna respond to them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I just don't have time for all of that.
Right.
I just
It's all
want
right. You don't got Twitter fingers.
Yeah, I want
It's
to
all
post
right.
something up and put a little picture. This is what I'm doing. I don't really like people knowing what I'm doing every day.
Right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? Like,
It's that OG mentality. It's okay.
we used to say, OG used to say, moving silence, young man. Moving
That's
silence.
right. Let them know. Drop them gems. It's all right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, man. Well, this is another great interview on Keezo's Corner. My man Terrence Floyd pulled up on us. Guest host.
Chrys Childs, Chrys and I. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, you know, I had to pull her in because she's always pulling me in. So come on and join me on my show. So
Thank you for having me.
listen, your boy Mr. Keezo, another episode in the can. We out.